Hello everyone, this is the video part 2 of this one is a tool bag tote. This is the stuff that you would need to have in addition to your tool belt. This is all the stuff that you would need to have in addition to your tool belt. Let's start from the top and work our way out to the sides. One of the first items that I would pick up would be a good impact driver. I would definitely pick up an impact driver because of the fact that, and I would go with 20 volts. 12 volts is good too for doing lightweight. I like the subcompact one for this. It has a lot of power, a lot of torque behind her. Yes, I know it's not the biggest, the baddest, but it was a good cheap one. This is the DCF 809. An impact driver would be one of the ones I would have. Another item that I would have to go with your impact driver, I would say, would be a good drill driver. These ones are becoming more and more popular, especially from Walmart, and I actually do like it because it really is a cheaper Milwaukee version. You know, it doesn't have the performance of the Milwaukee, but a good drill driver. And you can set the clutch settings on this. That way you can set the clutch settings on her, and you can actually dial it in. You have, on this one, you have from 1 to 18 plus. The plus would be your drill mode. And it's even got a nice little belt clip on it. Another item that I would definitely have in my tool belt and my tool tote, this is what I keep in my tool tote, a cordless screwdriver. This is more precise. This is kind of the in the middle road between your drill and your impact driver. This is where you don't want a lot of torque, but you also don't want to be able to, you don't want to be able to strip out your screws and stuff. This is a good addition to it. And this is, the whole point behind this is just a general layout of everything is what this is. This is what I keep in my tool tote. Charger. And screwdrivers. I would personally go with a flat, standard, and a Phillips. Another item that I'd keep that's in addition to it would be a good 16-footer. A good 16-footer, it's small, lightweight, it's compact, it does everything that you need it to do, but with that smaller advantage. I'd keep a second tape measure on you. Another thing that would be another hand tool would be your pliers, which would be, these right here would be adjustable pliers, your tongue and groove pliers. These are tongue and grooves. Some people call them water pump pliers. Like I said, I will go in more detail, but I'm just giving you a list of stuff that I would carry, because this is what I carry with me to do handyman work, to do basic construction work. Slip joint pliers. A basic pair of slip joint pliers are really good. Needle nose pliers. The reason why I would say needle nose pliers to go with those is because of the fact you can get into smaller, tighter spaces with them, and it has a little integrated wire cutter. And another one, speaking about wire cutters, I would keep a pair of good old side cutters with you. The reason why the side cutters is because you can clip wire, you can really bear down and clip those wires, pull out staples, pull out screws and things that you would need. Or not screws, but, you know, nails. Wire strippers, and I would go with the combination ones. Because you're able to trim off, and in here, you're able to trim off, you're able to trim off the screws, you can cut wires, and you could strip these wires. You can go from 10 gauge wire down to 22 gauge wire, 2022. A crescent wrench. A crescent wrench is what I would definitely keep in your toolkit. It's a good all around, and it's good for your bare basics, especially whenever it comes to plumbing and stuff, where you don't want to boober up um, your fittings and attachments. I also keep in here a wrench, a ratchet. I keep a ratchet for doing basic stuff. And then I also keep with it a swivel to getting into those tight, hard to reach places. Then I keep on the external part of my toolkit here, my tool tote. I keep a hammer holder and some duct tape. Look, duct tape is one of those most invaluable things you could ever have. Like, if you need that, like if it's not supposed to move, you use duct tape. Then I also keep a pair of chopsticks. I keep a pair of chopsticks because of the fact that I can use these to put holes into like door frames, and I can use some wood glue and some super glue, put it in there, and then cut them off flush. Now we're getting into this side of the tool, on this side here. I keep with me a 1-inch chisel in here. If I need to do any type of chisel work, I use this. And make sure you get one that has a metal plate on it. The metal plate prevents anything from deforming or mushrooming. Another utility knife. And another utility knife. I keep a good pair of linesman's pliers on me. These are very old school, but I still use them. They can trim, and they can cut. That's what they're designed to do, and they can grab, twist, and pull wires on them. A good level. I would keep a good level with you to do plumbing and to do electrical work for your boxes. Markers. I keep black. I keep silver to write on black surfaces, and then red. Different colors of black markers. Then I have this handy little device right here. Then I have this nice little handy little screwdriver right here. It has the different sizes. Phillips 0, and 1/8 inch. Good combination one. And then on this side is Phillips number 1 with a 5/32 on this side. This is a good all-around little bit holder. It's a good all-around little screwdriver, especially whenever you're doing like little electronics work. I keep an awl in here. An awl is a good thing to have to do. It's a scratch awl, and it's also good to make holes into things, to pre-drill. I keep a small little pry bar in here to do trim work. Pencils. I like these kinds of pencils because they're fine, and I feel like the lead on them is a lot more sturdier and thicker. Another marker. I also keep a good set of nail sets in here to do trim work, to do finer work. Another thing I keep in here is a awl, a center punch, a good center punch. You can use this for metal, wood, plastics, all kinds of materials, and to get started with your drill bits. I keep a nut driver in here. This is a nut driver screwdriver. I keep that in here in case that if I need something more other than the ratcheting part of it. And also it can get into tighter places. A center punch. This is not an automatic one. This is a good 1/2 inch center punch. This is really handy whenever you're doing door jambs and door locks and door hinges. This is really an excellent tool for that. And also it can be used to strike metal and wood. I keep a good pair of paddle bits. And I would say for a good set of paddle bits, you want something that is from 1/4 of an inch all the way to 1.5 inches. That is a good all-around set of paddle bits to do your electrical and plumbing work. Then I also keep screws in here too. I keep ledger locks for whenever you're doing very heavy duty thick framing. This keeps everything together really nicely. And here I keep my wire nuts. Keep my wire nuts in here. And I also keep my spare utility blades and a pencil sharpener. And also, for any outlets, I also keep my screws to go to the covers in here. These are just extras. And I keep, like for the outlets, I keep all kinds of things in here for the screws. And wire nuts that I would say, if I had to say, I'd start small and get big. Because of the fact you don't know what you'd be running into with any of this. I keep screws in here. I keep 2-inch screws in here for doing drip edge, gutters, anything like that. And they also have the washers and also siding and metal roofs too. Roofing nails I keep in there too. Extra roofing nails. A flush cut saw. And I made this holder for this. Very crudely made. But it does work and it prevents the teeth from getting dull and worn out inside the bag. Plus the added benefit too is it doesn't tear up the bag. I just did this as a cheap, simple way. As a sheath for it. Flush cut saw. Putty knives. And I would use these only for putty. I would not use these for anything else. For scraping or anything, I would not use that. I like to keep my putty knives for putty. That's why I have the scraper in the tool belt. And with the scraper, I also keep one of these smaller scrapers in here. I keep a 1.5 inch putty knife in here to do finer detailed work. Screws. Deck screws. I would have 3-inch deck screws that I would have as your general construction screws for doing light duty framing. 1.25 drywall, 2-inch drywall. Aluminum nails to do siding and to also do your caps for your roofs for shingles. Your drywall saw, your jab saw. I keep a file in here. You never know with what you're going to need to file down something. I prefer one that has a longer handle that you can really get in there and sharpen things, dull things, just do different things like that. Right here's my sockets. I would keep a small socket set in your tool bag. The smaller sockets allow you to do, I'd say a good size to have is from 11/16 down to your 1/4 inch. Framing nails, 3-inch framing nails, and there's also some 2-inchers in there too. Hole saw, good for door locks. This is a trim pry bar that also has that 90-degree head on it. Good for getting out nails that are sunk into wood. This is a good trim pry bar too. Then in here I also keep different types of connections and other different types of screws. I have 2-inch trim screws, 2 1.25 inch trims, 2-inch deck, 2-inch decking screws, 1.25 inch drywall again, and 1.25 inch for your drip edge, your gutters, or not your drip edge, but for your metal roofs and your siding. I also keep small trim nails in here, wire connectors, drywall anchors, and different types of wire connections, like I said, all are in here. And I also keep a hacksaw blade in here. That way you can really get in there, do fine stuff. You can flush cut a little bit. You can get into tighter areas with this. Now we're going to be going to the sides. Cold chisel. Old school cold chisel would be good for breaking up. For breaking up brick, stone, masonry. A ratcheting screwdriver I keep in here. I actually don't mind ratcheting screwdrivers. Drill bits. Drill bits with all different kinds of stuff in there. This one right here, I really like to keep my drill bits in. I love the magnet that's on top of this. You can stick it to anything that's magnet. I'd keep some socket adapters in there too for your impact driver. And I will go over, like I said, I will go over more in detail of different things, of what bits and stuff and all that stuff you need. I'm just doing this as to get started. Your adapter for your hole saw. Broken hacksaw blade that I actually bent in half to get into a smaller, tighter area. Recip saw blade, 4-inch. And another little smaller socket set. Allens. Those are so good for assembling furniture. Those are standards there. And I also keep another set of longer standards. Then I also keep metric in here. Wood glue. You always want to have wood glue on hand. Always, always, always. Nail hole patch to do small, simple little work for drywall and to make small little repairs. Paintbrush for painting, obviously. Good for that. I go with a 3-inch one personally. Extra baggies, because you'll never know whenever you're assembling stuff what you're going to be tearing apart. Then on the other side, the front side, pencils of pencils of pencils. The interesting thing is too about these pencils is they make great shims. And they're not that expensive either. These are the ones that have a little bit of a tip on them. Plate covers for doing electrical work. I also keep some of these foam inserts to help. If you need something that is just not tight enough, you can either adjust the outlet itself or you can put one of those in there. I find to work out pretty doggone well. And then, like I said, more plate covers. Chargers for the drill and cordless screwdriver. I keep in the front here a 20 amp breaker at all times because you never know with electrical work with what you're going to get into. I keep adapter plugs in here for your extension cords. Vice grips. You always want to have a pair of vice grips. A right angle adapter from DeWalt that gets you into nice tight places. An extension. This is a 6-inch extension. A small little trim square. This is an excellent tool to have, a small little 4.5-inch trim square. Precision screwdriver sets. Individualized. Scissors. You need to have a good pair of utility scissors. Sandpaper. I always keep sandpaper in here. More bits. More sandpaper. I keep O-rings in there for hoses or sinks or anything like that. And then I keep a big giant Sharpie. You never know whenever you need to make a big bold mark that can be seen. I keep light switches in here. Receptacles I keep in here. You never know with doing electrical like what you're going to need, and it saves you a trip from going to the hardware store. Keep a GFCI in here. And then on this side, I keep my extra tool pouches that I would need to have. And I would definitely say, get you a big can of WD-40. This is a great tool to use, and I love it. I love being able to have the two different options and then it flipping out like it does. I love that. These are my extra tool pouches. This is my electrician's tool pouch that I would keep things set up. Another Phillips, and I would wrap. If you don't have insulated screwdrivers, and I'm not even really recommending this for safety reasons, but I am recommending this. It's better than nothing at all. Take and put some electrical tape on the end of your screwdrivers. And make sure the power's off, but it just gives you a little bit of extra security. Then I keep a pair of compact wire strippers with me at all times in that. They are so nice to get into tight spaces and strip wire and cut a little bit of wire with them. Another pair of needle nose pliers. I always keep a marker in here, and this is an old school tester for your outlets to see if there's power. Doesn't require any batteries at all, and it makes it nice in case that another tool that I'm going to talk about does run out. I keep Teflon tape in here. Your plumber's tape I keep in here. I keep my electrical rolls right there. Really a nice pouch to have. And then I keep another pouch right there as my extra for just in case. I would definitely suggest for a toolkit you always have a GFCI tester that is an electrical tester. I would also suggest having a tick tracer. But you can't rely on these things. You cannot rely on these things. Because sometimes they give out false readings. See? If you move too fast or anything, you cannot always rely on it. But just as a general rule, if you need to see if something is energized and you don't know where it's coming from, this is great, and it also has a little flashlight there. I keep a multimeter on here to test continuity, resistance, different things that you would need to have whenever you're doing electrical work. And I will go in more in depth about everything, but this is just an all-around toolkit that you would need to have. All around that you would need. Alrighty. This is just a general outlook of everything that you would need to have. Thank you for your time. Any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them down below. Thank you. See you later.